When it comes to EVE Online, every player wants to know the most effective tactic available. You want to know the meta. The meta controls everything. It determines what will and will not happen. Knowing the meta will alter your views, make you question your reality. It might even make you laugh. And now, you're part of it. You're watching the Meta Show.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Meta Show. It is the 24th of November, and we're here. There is a lot going on. I am joined today by Ranger Gamma, the second in command of Goonswarm Federation. Technically, the second most powerful person in the Imperium, I suppose you could say. And Beyond Nox, who is pretty much Mr. Loan Shark, but he's not going to break your knees. So, yeah, it's great to have everybody here. Today we're going to be covering the recent standings announcement and some information on the move now that everything's settled down and everybody's really, getting back into it.
Yeah, okay. How's everybody doing?
Yeah. And yes, I did vote Ranger into it because when Ash is not available, sucks to be him. Right.
It's Asher adjacent. That's what people have been telling me. So
Mini Asher. So we're gonna jump right into the top story. Okay, so as most of you know, top story is on the 1st of January, we'll be resetting all of their standings, no blues whatsoever, with anyone. And Shines is hoping, as he said in his announcement, which can be found in a recording, which I'm sure somebody will link shortly. This is to hopefully prompt other people to do the same, to reinvigorate nullsec, because at the moment you're either blue or you're not, rather than, multiple different groups. At the moment we have two big blocks, which is not good. Fountain Frank is unfortunately moving his stuff out of Fountain at the moment. So while this is the case, I do have an announcement from Shines, who couldn't be on the show today. And he says, while Brave is under pressure from PH and Frat, operating out of NPC Delve, Init will have the following rules to do with them: no whaling, no cloaky camping, no disruption of their fleets, no shooting structures, even just to ping them, and no quote-unquote professional fleets to their space. Bringing a cruiser/frigate fleet to their staging in the hopes of a fun brawl for both sides is the only engagement we want to see for the moment. This applies to Brave in Brave space. These will be internal restrictions for Init members and FCs. I was about to read the bit, that said if you could please mention it. Shitting on Brave is not what he intends. So basically what that is Shine saying, while Brave are trying to regroup themselves, move into new space, and rebuild, they will not be deliberately attacking Brave for anything outside of a fun roam. I need to move that over here so I can see the chat. So that basically means that they won't do what Horde did to Brave, where they immediately started shitting all over them, essentially. So, let's go to Ranger. Ranger, what do you think about all this?
well, it's going to be an interesting one to see, how it comes down. Diplo stuff I leave to the Diplos. As I mentioned the last time I was on the Meta Show, my focus is internal. So I try and keep my big nose out of Diplo matters whenever I can. I leave that for those guys. Uh, more people around to shoot is always better. Um, will it actually work out that way? I honestly don't know. We'll have to wait and see. That's one of those future plans things of we don't know what's going to happen with Eve and any other group. Um, and other than that, I will leave all the external stuff to the Diplos, the professional people who actually do that. I just give Atrum SRP money. That's pretty much my role anymore.
Beyond, any thoughts on it?
I mean, yeah, it's a noble goal. I get the point. It comes down to trusting Horde and Fraternity to do what they're saying, and I hope it happens. I think it could be good for the game, but trusting Horde and Fraternity is not something I rarely do.
That actually leads us on to the next thing. Dank leaks from Gobbins. When my thing wants to change, there it goes. So, the Goblin Man pinged this today, a few hours ago, actually, stating that I've got this too small. Yes, stating, as you can see in it, announced their plans to reset the Imperium. He thinks it's good for the game. So they're going to hold up their side and intend on resetting Winterco, so Fraternity and Friends, around the same time. Details to come later because they need to discuss it more. And tan their members to get all their stuff out of Winterco space. Now, my personal opinion on this is they're going to say they're going to do it. They're going to delete the actual in-game standings because they've done this before. But they ain't going to do shit beyond that. They're just going to sit in their space, Winterco sit in theirs. You may see some roaming gangs, but much like what we used to do with Test, they are not going to do anything beyond that. Which doesn't really solve the issue. Because at the end of the day, Horde rely too much on FRT. Any thoughts from the crowd, Ranger?
I think that's a historical precedent that, why would it be different? I mean, as you said, we have seen this before. Is it going to be any different now? You never can tell with people with Eve. Things change all the time, but historical precedent says it will go exactly as you have just predicted. We can always hope that there will be something different, but we're just going to have to wait and see. I was personally surprised to see that message from or ping whatever announcement from Gobbins this morning. It did actually surprise me. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool, But I'm in the mode. It's like when we talk about an update from CCP. I've been doing this a long time. I mean, I've been in Eve 15 years now. I don't believe anything until it's in TQ, and even then, we all know, right? CCP will change a number, they'll alter something,
Warping mechanics.
and so you wait you wait like 6 months after the original thing is in, and then maybe you're in the final version. So I mean, we're talking December reset here. Let's say somebody pokes them in May and they don't actually instantly re-blue, then I might actually believe this is real.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing, because with the Init thing, let's be honest, if Horde tried to invade Init in January, and Init asked for help, we'd have something to say about the map. But it doesn't mean we're going to immediately go running. It doesn't mean Init will immediately turn up to our timers and come running. I mean, it doesn't rule out us working with them on things like killing crabs and stuff, and I'd fully expect the same with FRT and Horde, because they've been blue for so long. FCs make friendships and invite their buddies, to come and help. I mean, when FRT and Horde unblued each other last time, I'm not even going to hide that I asked Sandarin to help me several times kill FRT capitals. It's just one of them things that happen. But I can almost guarantee there will never be an FRT Horde war, and there will never, ever be a war with Horde that FRT does not help them with. It's just the way it will be. And I bet you will still see FRT turning up to Horde timers. Because, honestly, I don't trust goblins as far as I can throw them. Beyond, anything?
I guess I'm newer in the game and still a summer child, so I'm cautiously optimistic. I hope it happens. It would be great. But I'm also jaded enough to not believe anything before I see it. But let's hope. It would be great.
Also, the interesting thing is, and it was mentioned in chat, Gobbins has made a hasty announcement with this. He even says in his announcement there's no details. So he's pulled the trigger without even thinking. So he could, in due time, he has backtracked before, just turn around and go, well, actually, it's not really good for us. I'm going to pass. But who knows? Time will tell. We'll find out in January. But I'm not holding my breath.
Certainly, you are not implying that Goblins would pass.
Goblins
on an
pass?
operation.
No, never. That is the issue. Without Fraternity, they don't have 20-1 odds. So
I mean, he's not passing. He's just significantly late.
I don't know. I think he'll pass.
Wow, that's some spin on that one. Beyond
That's amazing.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, Brave was late to 1DQ by about 3 years.
Hey, but they're there, and
they got there,
and
they're
they've
the
got
only
it.
one that got there. They may have traded, but they got there. That's the way you take 1DQ, folks. You essentially just ask for it.
I mean, we can't say a diplomatic victory is not a victory.
Exactly. Have you ever played Civ? Like, come on.
Play Eve.
Exactly. Anyway, so time will tell on that. We've got some cautiously optimistic. I think me and Ranger are just bitter and don't believe a word Gobbins said, which, it's Gobbins, let's be honest. But I am excited to get to fight against in it. I've been fighting with them the whole time I've played this game, so it'd be nice to actually go against them and shoot them when they're not blue, because, I mean, I always shoot Dark Shines, but hey. So, let's move on to the Nullsec Power Hour. So if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my stream deck. And let's go. So, folks, on to the Nullsec Power Hour. The move essentially is, I wouldn't say complete, but it's in the settling phase. Wouldn't you agree, guys?
Oh yeah, we won't be completely moved for probably months still. I mean, we've still got people coming back. We did a move up today. We projected this move would take many months to complete. We're doing move ups. We've still got guys coming back. This is something to where you cannot move that many thousands of people with so many thousands of hulls and doing all those things. Yeah, you're not doing that in a couple of days or a week. We projected months to actually do the move. Yeah, Dragon, you're saying 6 months. Yeah, I think that's not an unreasonable time frame. Could be a little less, could be a little more. It's always hard to say with Eve players. The first move up we did was unbelievable. Beyond and I were talking about it before the show when you had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of freighters moving through. Shingli actually did a video of that, and it's ungodly. And then you see all the Titans come in, all the supers. It was insane. I think we did that move up for about 5 hours. I don't remember that first one. I think it was something like that.
I talked with Zintage and Kaz about this the other week. They missed a golden opportunity there. They being, Pappy, essentially, because that would have been the time. Yes, we had our guard up quite a bit, but trade a few dreads to kill how many trillions of ISK in freighters that you could just alpha off the field?
it's one of those where we anticipated them making that attempt. We were prepared for them to do it. Um, I won't go into any details on it, just because Dave, you're a military man. You know, we don't want to tell the
Yeah,
enemy. It's like,
I
oh,
already know. I
this is
know
what we
what
were
was
gonna
there.
do.
Yeah.
Um, but also the rule is that the first move up, the second move up, basically nobody ever fucks with those because everybody's guard is up. It's the ninth move up, the 10th move up, where people's guards are down, that you do have a bigger issue. And that's why we've switched our mode to not doing 2 or 3 move ups every day like we were doing for quite a while. And we're doing them, after the fireside, or like today we did one on a Sunday, because we want to make sure our guys are safe. So we're bringing a full tilt fleet to sit on that gate and just go, all right, let's do this.
I mean, that and 2 or 3 move ups a day will just end up burning your FCs out, quite frankly.
And we were.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
because
absolutely.
all of us will turn
Again,
around and go,
Dave,
really cannot be bothered to do this now. Like,
I mean, you know how it is. Our RFC guys were doing this. Our recon guys doing all the Sino chains for it. I've talked to a number of them. Apple was doing the move up today. He did a lot of them in EUTZ. Sniper was doing them in USTZ. Our recon guys, I can't tell you how many, cartonfuls of ozone they burned. I had 4 or 5 Sinos shot down doing them just in one system.
and a lot of those people have
Freaking
responsibilities
thrashers.
outside of the alliance level stuff as well. A good
Oh,
example
absolutely. Yeah.
is Ellie, who is a recon. He was also responsible for the movement of all of Ascendance's structures, which is somewhere near the 100 mark.
Yeah.
And the re-anchoring of them. So while they're doing all that for the Alliance, they also have, normally these people are the sort of people that fail upwards in their corp as well, as we say, and have to do
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
because they're
And
trusted.
then you've got then you've got their personal assets to
Mhm.
move as well. I was able to get all of my stuff into 49U. I moved it across the regional gate in the first move up. And then I brought all my guys back into 49U, and I'm just like, okay, who needs help moving stuff? We did all the alliance stuff first. We did a big special move up for all the alliance stuff. It worked out at 600 freighters we did just for the alliance stuff in the first move up. It was just something like that. And then you did personal stuff. I was on a corp move up just yesterday, moving things. So we had a lot. Beyond and I were joking about the amount of stuff that Beyond found in his couch cushions, because I never lose anything. This was all Beyond finding things in couch cushions.
Yeah, right.
Filthy liar.
Yeah, but it's amazing. The one insanity that I found, Dave, and I think you'll love this, is implants. Like how many clones I had that had implants in them. I did like 4 rounds through all of my accounts. I'm like, okay, did I actually get all of the clones out of here? And I ran across one account that we were talking about before the show, and I'm like, shit. And I'd run out of shuttles. I was using noob ships to move like full +5 sets of implants, because I'm like, all right, well, I ran out of hulls here. So
I
you
still have some of
find
my less
stories like that.
important ones in Delve. They're just in 1DQ because I'm like, oh, I'll get that later.
I did a lot of that too. Yeah, I mean it's incredible. Or jump clones that you find somewhere. It's like, oh, why can I not install a jump clone in our new Beehive system? It's like, oh, well, because there's like 3 of them still in Delve,
because
you
I still
idiot.
have tons back there. Yeah, it is amazing. For me, I actually left for a holiday the day of the first move ups. I ran the first move up, then 5 hours later, I was in a car heading to London for a holiday. So I didn't move my stuff until I actually did a move up quite selfishly, but I helped other people through. I opened the gate the second I got back from that trip to get my stuff through and allow other people to go through.
Yeah, I think that's, when you get to people of our level, like, so the three of us, it's like, okay, we got our stuff through to Fortac 07. At least I did. I moved all of my crap to Fortac 07, and then I spent about 2 weeks just helping other people move their stuff. And finally, I'm like, okay, I really could use something besides a couple of noob ships in ULX. I should stop being lazy and get on this bandwagon. Uh, and somebody had pinged one of the move ops, one of the recon guys did. I'm like, oh, that's perfect. And I had got all of my guys in, joined his fleet. I made one jump. I think it was Heidi who was doing it. And he's like, all right, guys, fleet shutting down. I'm going to go get dinner. I'm like, God damn it. I literally made one jump with one set of alts. I'm like, all right, well, I guess I either do this myself or I just wait for the next set. And I did a little bit of both. I was maxing aids on my guys to move them because, why not?
Yeah, with my stuff, well, my vendetta. Well, I say my vendetta that my friend lent me, is still in Fortac 0 because I have no need for it yet, so it's still there. Like, I only moved my high angle dread up when I felt like dropping it on people, for instance. Because the second I moved, like through the regional, and when I was back from my trip, my thoughts were then setting up the area for my corp to live in. Rather
Yeah,
than
it's one of those
my
things that
stuff.
people also forget, that while we had to move people, we also had a home we needed to build.
Mm-hmm.
So I spent a lot of my time moving my recon people stuff so they could actually focus on being just recon
Yeah,
and just doing the move ups so we would help them move their stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, and I
One,
think that's the definition of leadership, right? It's helping your people move stuff. It's not moving your stuff. I mean, we have to move our stuff as well, but you gotta, if there's no place for the guys to go, like we spent quite a bit of time looking at it, and um, this is a little bit of the history of doing the move. Is we took all this space. We never expected Pappy to fold as fast as they did. I was telling this story, I think, with Betty when I was on the Meta Show last time, that like I got up one day and I messaged Vintage. I'm like, dude, what the hell happened? Because like overnight, our guys had taken an entire region, or we'd refed everything, whatever was the case. Um, and they folded so quickly that we were like slow burning our FC guys of like, okay, you can't. We need you guys to be around, and they're like, there's nothing to do. It's like, yeah. And it was the worst part is that we couldn't tell them why,
yeah,
because we had to just sit there and
we were given stuff that we could blatantly see was placeholder because it was, oh, just start going to harass them over there. Just go over there while we sit in UTech queue for
yeah, and that
ages. Yeah.
was that was the worst part. I don't think any of the military guys liked it. It annoyed me. I
Oh, it
wish
was
we
driving
hadn't
us
had to do it.
nuts.
Um, but I know the Cord guys were not like, Mill Director was not like it. Nobody was happy. Asher wasn't happy. Like none of us were like, oh, this is the best thing. The guys will love this. No, everybody hated that. But the Pappy folded so fast that we hadn't even like told anybody we were moving. We didn't have structures pulled up yet. Um, we had to build structures. We had to move structures. We had to move fuel. Jump bridges. All of this stuff had to be put in. And you had to use the new SOV system. You had to get the sky hooks in there. It was a ton of work that we
I
we
mean, all
didn't
the
expect
skyhooks
to have to
still
do.
aren't there.
Yeah, they're not. I mean, I know Delta and like the absolute heroes
Product.
in GSOL have been putting a ton of them in. Several people, including Brodog and Sniper, have been upgrading our space. They've been putting in definitely the lion's share of the work. Getting all that stuff has landed on just a handful of people, which is kind of typical because you need to have access to all of these special things to do it.
One,
But in a few weeks, when we get to like New Year's and everything, they're going to take a nice little break, or I might have to like kick them out for a week and say, "God damn it, relax before you burn out."
I've been trying to ease their load a little bit by, in the area ASCII's living in, I've just started dropping skyhooks and sending them to GSOL and go, doubt it, here's the bill. Because
Yeah,
it's
and
a lot easier.
we did absolutely, yeah, for sure, open that up. Kaz and I were talking about that yesterday. I believe Asher mentioned it again on the fireside. Somebody did, like, if you're gonna drop it, or he told Kremlin, time has been a blur. We were talking about that right before the show. It's like
Mm.
there's been a lot of stuff going on the last month, but Corpse drop in skyhooks to help us with it. Um, we've got a whole group of people who go out there and pick up all the stuff because that's a stupid and engaging mechanic that CCP forced on us.
Yeah, one thing I love about this move is first of all, it's brought people back. Activity has surged crazily in our alliance.
Oh, so
Absolutely
yeah.
much.
nuts. For instance, ASCII's Corp chat. I'm using ASCII's example because it's the example I've got. Used to sit, even I think beyond when you're in the Corp, it'd sit about 80, 90 most of the time.
Sure. Yeah,
Since
that
we
checks out.
settled in, it has not dropped below 120 people, other than downtime. It's been like a massive resurgence of activity, and it's not just ASCII. It's we formed 2 full fleets the other day with beehives still up and people still crabbing. That's nuts.
Oh, and
I
incursions running.
Yeah, I saw that. I was sitting with I think it was so it was me, Sniper, Asher. There's a few of us in the leadership team looking at that. We're like, we effectively have 4 full fleets out right now. We had Beehive up and running. There was an incursion fleet going, and there were 2 full combat fleets going. It's like, this is insane. We've seen so many people come back, people who are active, people we haven't seen in literally years since the end of Vietnam, really,
We've had a lot of
have
It's
come
people
been
back.
reapply as well.
it's been fun. Like I joined WoF like a year and a half ago now, and when I joined, there was a specific amount of people online, but we are in like Corp reaching 100 online at the most time, which is a
How many of
very
those
high
are
for WoF.
alts?
Not that many because WoF people have a tendency to have their alts in all corps. But there are people like we'll be like 10, 15 on Discord just sitting and chatting, and half of them is people that I have never met before the move because it's returning people coming back,
Yeah,
and it's so amazing.
it's rejuvenated people's want to play the game. Even mine, like I have
Really have.
never lived outside of DAV. I joined Goons in 2016, just after we moved in when the stage was DW. And yeah, that was my first home. But I'm loving it. We have more space. Everybody can spread out. Better, in my opinion, ways for people to make ISK now. There's been a lot of hate towards CCP, but now they fixed Stormbringer rating. I did it the other day, and in the amount of time I'd normally make 200 mil on the old system, I made almost 800. So I'm quite happy about that.
I actually wanted to emphasize that for just a second there, Dave. Sorry. Stalvalor, I'm sure I just butchered your name, man. The incursion thing, I was actually at dinner with Sniper Eagle and Nemus when the current incursion spawned. And we're all like, are you kidding me? Because we had to have the incursion group headshot the last 3. There was one in GSOL staging area. It had to go. There was another one. I don't remember what it was. It was blocking like a key transit
There
route.
was
It had
one
to
in
go. There was a
Catch,
third.
wasn't it?
Yeah, there was a third one that was in another transit area that we headshot literally 3 of them.
And then this one's
And
right in the middle of the crabbing area. Like,
yeah,
hello.
and we were sitting there. We're like, oh my god, this spawned right there. And we were looking at the map. Literally, the 3 of us were at dinner. We were just having a beer, having dinner. And we're like, crab's green. Like, let's go. Let's do this.
The other great
I
thing about
think
there is Beehive can defend it.
Yeah, and it's like in the heart of Beehive
Yeah.
territory. Yeah.
I think
Sniper
someone
and I were
joked.
looking. Go ahead, Beyond.
I was just thinking, like, some of you told me about, like, it was the joke of this was the quickest greenlit ever, because the 3 people that needed to greenlit was sitting together at a table and be like, oh, yeah, we could do that.
Yeah, we were literally sitting there and we were just kind of finishing up our dinner, just, sitting back, shit talking, having our beer. And Nemus is like, an incursion just spawned, and we're like, what are you talking about? And she slid her phone over with the notification on it showing where it was. And Sniper's got his phone out. I've got mine. We're looking at the maps. And I think within about 4 minutes, we had poked the incursion leadership and we're like, farm the fuck out of this. And so Sniper's talking in channels. I'm talking in channels. Nemus is talking in channels. But I think it was 4 or 5 minutes, and it was greenlit from when it spawned in that constellation to when it was all right. Weapons green on that. Let's do this. And I'm hoping, we know it's an RNG a little bit on when the numbers come out, but there's a big holiday here in the U.S. this week. I'm hoping we still have an incursion up for Thanksgiving Thursday, so all the nerds can get in and get some good ISK. We don't know that it will.
That's the other
but
thing
it's
about
possible.
us having more regions that are on top of each other. There is more likelihood of an incursion spawning just because there is more regions. Like,
Yep.
Definitely.
One of the guys did the math on it, and it's pretty insane. I don't know if we want to release that number publicly, so
No.
I'm not going to say
Probably
it, but
not.
it's pretty good.
But
It's a pretty good odds.
yeah, there's been a resurgence on ratting, especially now they fixed the Stormbringer stuff and the smart bombing. Been a massive resurgence on mining, especially ice, because the amount of ice bouts we have just in Amencia alone is nuts. Let alone everywhere else.
And speaking of ice, Dave, that's an excellent lead in for. I know Beyond has been itching to talk about taupes. Ice and
Mhm.
taupes. That's a perfect lead in for how we totally did not fuck the taupes market. What I would like before Beyond does his thing, I would like you all who are listening to this, live with me now or later, to think back 3.5 years ago, so the end of Vietnam, when Pappy announced their withdrawal from our space, and what happened to their people and their capitals when they tried to move them. Uh, right, they crushed every isotope market in everywhere in the entire game. And Beyond's going to tell you what we did to not do that.
Before we go on to that, just one last thing, because I got poked about it. Just a big shout out to anyone that's helped their corps move or the alliance move. There's been a lot of people hosting
Yeah.
fleets to move jump freighters. I know in Air Corp, several of our members of the leadership have been deliberately making sure everybody got their stuff out. So big shout out to all them, because they're really the unsung heroes here.
No, that's an excellent point there, Dave. We cannot do this alone, even with how many people are in GSOL. We could never have moved this. I mean, we literally moved 600 freighters that first move up. There are not that many people in GSOL. We never could have done this without help. Corpse moving things. It's been a truly. It brings a tear to the cold, dead heart of the bitter vet to see everybody helping out with everybody else.
Absolutely. I've seen people that would normally just focus around themselves really stepping up and helping. It's like, it's so amazing. So yeah.
Okay.
Been talk. Go ahead, sorry.
Numbers, man. How did we fuck up Eve's market today?
Yeah, let's talk about taupes, man.
Hell yeah. First of all, we really didn't in the beginning. One of the things that I have heard a lot because I've been keeping track on, and I'm gonna say Reddit because that's a reliable source. We all know this. But yeah, a lot of people have been complaining or saying that we didn't prep, and the prices of helium isotopes or whatever. And I'm using helium as an example because it is known we have a lot of avatars, for instance. We use that particular fuel a lot. But they said that we didn't start buying before October. So right when we announced the move, and there was a huge spike, which is I mean, it's a lie, let's be honest. We knew for a very long time that this was happening, and if you want to stockpile without making it very clear what you're doing, there's certain levels of like discretions you have to use. But one of the greatest discretions you have to do is to make sure that you don't flood the market with buy orders. You have to make sure that the daily amount leaving Jita is exactly the same or stays so clear, so near to the same that it's not a problem. And I guess it's one of those jobs I'm actually fairly good at doing for the Alliance. So I started in June buying fuel for us. And if you check isotope prices, for instance for helium, all the way through June and July and August, it barely moved in price. Then something that I can't disclose happened, and we had to do some other stuff as well because our original thoughts about how much fuel we needed changed because a lot of people suddenly had a lot more a lot more ships they needed to move than we thought. And we used other methods, and that's when the market started reacting to what we have been doing. But we basically got 3 months worth of buying fuel without anyone noticing.
And then the second round of that is when we announced the move, that big spike is everybody just going out there and buying topes, right? Just the regular person doing it. I'm sure the baddies tried it as well, to choke off our supply. Um, but as Beyond said, we had anticipated this for quite a while, and we had some pretty good piles of topes. I don't want to say they were like Smaug level, but they were kind of like Smaug level.
I'm not going to give numbers, but yeah. That's the difference between a panic, oh my god, we need to leave, and an organized move up where you actually have a plan. Like you don't triple the price for your members and make it impossible for them to move out of a region.
And it's something we spent a lot of time. Kaz and I did, along with Beyond was getting topes for us. Kaz and I were sitting there asking, how do we make sure that members have topes? We did our normal resupply. A lot of our Titan pilots burned an insane number of isotopes and Straunt bridging freighters, bridging subcaps, doing all those kind of pieces. Uh, we did our very best. I'm sure we missed some people, especially in uh, AUTZ. They had to get their own topes. I tried my best to make them whole, get them ISK, get them topes, whatever they needed. But our fuelers were out there fueling ships, um, getting all of those pieces done, making sure that we had them. And all of those topes came from the buy orders that Beyond is talking about. We moved a pretty incredible amount to have it ready to go. And when Pappy pulled out, uh, they didn't. They didn't reimburse anybody in those topes, at least as far as I know.
Well,
Maybe
they left
somebody was
half their
there.
people behind.
Yeah, I'll say, and along the route too. I mean, you know this, Dave. Like they would get there and they'd run out in like, I don't know, whatever system. And it's like, well, I need isotopes here. It's like, well, there aren't any. So
Yeah,
see ya.
and now we
Another
have
mistake.
people. Sorry, now we even have. I've seen people applying to our court, for instance, that saying I was ex, test, and I want to come back to the game, and I thought now's a good time because you guys are moving. They're joining us and actually moving with us and living with us. So they were left behind because a lot of their people were demoralized and then got left in the dirt while they were still fighting. So,
Just
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I want to point out the fact that one of the differences is also what Horde or Pappy did, not just Horde. I'm not going to throw just Horde under the bus here, but the entire Pappy invasion. What they did was they would list a lot of taupes on the market, which made it insanely easy to use spirals to just empty their markets, wait for them to leave, asset safety it into one of our structures, move it to 1DQ, and use the fuel to leave now. So I guess some of the fuel we used was actually backup logs for when we were raiding Pappy when they left.
Somebody just mentioned in channel, sorry, the day, somebody just mentioned there, bridging a few freighter fleets, 8 north of 20 million taupes. Yeah, I mean, that was absolutely a thing. We've normally if like a fuel contract comes in, it's got more than, somebody wants 100K or something like that. It gets flagged to go to me or some of the other high level directors. I sat down with Kaz and I'm like, hey man, we should probably be a little more spendthrift. We've got some of this, and Kaz was like, yeah, make the guys whole. We were handing out huge stacks of taupes. I don't think we ever did a 20 million order one. I don't think so, but we set out our Titans burned a fuckload of
I
taupes.
don't think I've done a fuel contract in ages, but I've got the role to access the hangars. Just,
Yeah, I
get
mean,
the
and there are, there are high level FCs like you who can do things like that. I don't think Apple's ever done a fuel contract. He just grabs
Well,
out of the
it's such a
fuel
waste.
hanger himself.
What are we going to do? Go on out and accept the fuel?
Yeah.
But yeah, so another thing I've noticed, and we're running on time, so I'm just going to mention this, is the capital market is bouncing back a bit.
It really is. Yep.
I've
Dreadalls with crab beacons, man. Jesus.
So I opened a capital shop the other day, and I thought I'd only get 3 orders. I've got 35, 4 of which are Titans. So even that's bouncing back because the supply of Titans we had that was surplus that people wanting to sell that already built are running out. So you have to go to builders to get them, which is a shame because it means the price is going up because they cost a lot and you can't really get the minerals. But
yeah,
it's good because it means the market.
I think it's also
these guys are active. Yeah.
It's also a fact that we had a lot of people coming back from the move who actually had Titan pilots without Titans. As one of the people who's watching Super Smart, who luckily have a helper now, there was a lot of people like looking for Supers or Titans to move all their subcaps in. So our stockpile is like, we would have people that had like 2 Titan pilots, but sitting on 4 extra because they have been living in Dell for like 9 years, and Dell was good with Rorgals. But they could sell them to get some money to buy whatever they wanted, and then now a lot of more people have like Titans.
Yeah, and we discussed this in a PM. The people that I'm building Titans for instance, have had threads up for a good bit, and they just can't find them, which is really good. That means that the capital market is finally healing itself. It just means also things are going to get more expensive before they get cheaper.
But also the focus of what Titans people want have shifted.
Yeah, because not everybody wants Avatar.
Don't build avatars, please.
Yeah, they're terrible. Anyway, that we've got 10 minutes left, and I've been given some dank leaks.
Oh, so before you do that, I did want to say one thing that our red loot buyback program. I meant to pimp this yesterday on the fireside, and I totally forgot. For all of our dread pilots running beacons, we have a red loot buyback program that you can sell it right to the Alliance in ULX and in Beehive staging system. And that program has been insane the past couple of weeks.
Oh yeah.
So dank leaks for you there, Dave. I just wanted to make sure I pimped that.
Well, as we're pimping stuff like that, I need a lot of ore and minerals. So if you've got any, contact me. Anyway, dank leaks. Yeah, we're gonna go to the dank leaks. So I was just handed this dank leak from Fraternity, fresh off the press. Slid into my DMs. And apparently they have done an announcement referring to Darkshine's announcement, stating pretty much what Gobbin stated, that they agree with what Darkshines has done and have acknowledged that they're in talks with Gobbins to do the same. Now, as we said earlier, who knows how much bullshit this is, but yeah, only time will tell. So, what do we think about the fact that this has just been pinged, folks?
I mean, first of all, I'm still cautiously optimistic, but pings means nothing until action is taken.
Mm-hmm. And you never know, Gobbins may delete them. We have receipts.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it's one of these things, David. We said at the very beginning. I think you and I are a little bit on the bitter vet. We've been around a long time. We've seen a lot of this stuff before. Will it actually happen?
Who
Probably it
knows?
will. Will it actually make a difference? I am highly skeptical, but it's possible. Anything's possible in Eve, man.
Yeah, I mean, it may be possible that they'll actually go ahead and do it. Highly doubt it will, but we can hope. So that's all I've got. We've still got 10 minutes. So any other things? Anything people want to shout out?
We can talk a little bit about how the market reacted to the fact we moved.
Go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really interesting one.
Structure market went a bit fucked.
Everything. Like,
Yeah,
a
go
lot of
ahead,
people
Bjorn. You ran the
don't
number.
realize that a lot of the production and the T2 market in Jita is actually the Imperium. And I'm saying the Imperium, it's not just Goon. TNT is producing a hell of a lot, and Sigma is as well. Just look at the MER, we can see the numbers. But a very good example is like the normal doctrine flown Tech 2 ships. For instance, let's take a Hugin. It is, I got corrected by Danny, who says it's 300 in Jita normally. I'm used to being like 240 in Delve. But it spiked to over 500 million per Hugin just because we stopped production for a month.
It's so many people just don't realize that for years, right? Goonswarm and the Imperium has been Eve's arms brokers, right? We use the stuff that we use, and our guys sell all kinds of T2 shit in Jita, and then we import a ton of stuff, right? It's not like by far, we import a ton of things as well.
Definitely.
But selling T2 hulls has always been a thing for Goonswarm in Jita. Well, not always, but in the last 10 years it has been.
I have totally never deliberately sold the hulls that I'm killing in fleets in Jita. Totally not.
Yeah, I mean, we
It's
have,
a
of
valid
course,
strategy.
yeah, never done that where,
Totally not.
I
no.
mean, one of the greatest things were when Horde flew their Golden Fleet with their Paladins. I think I sold basically all their guns to them because of a Tech 2 BPO.
Yeah, it's interesting to see, because on one hand you got Horde, who do a lot of crabbing and stuff, but from what I've seen, their industrial complex is not anywhere near what ours is. And then there's us with an entire region that is dedicated to building. No.
I think
it's one of
the
these
Horde.
cases. Oh, go ahead.
I think the Horde industrial complex, and I'm talking out from what I can like glean from numbers, so I don't know this, but it's a little bit of low stock and a little bit of like higher stock. So they'll have people producing their ammo, for instance. They don't seem to be importing a lot of ammo and like stuff like that. And they are producing capital ships, because buying capital ships other places than at home is a nightmare and a half. But all the mid-range shit, they might have people producing it, but not on the level they needed.
So, like in Goons, if you're seeding, you could easily hook up with one of the producers and just buy their ships immediately. This is something I've done before, where I've sold my ships to the people that put them on contract because I cannot be bothered to do it myself, and get it inside Delve. But okay, sorry, inside Goon space. Got to get used to that one. I think we proved during the World War B2 that we can be entirely self-sufficient and be cut off essentially from everywhere else and still live.
So that's not quite true. I get your point on that, Dave,
Well,
but
jump threaters can get in, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing for everybody, before somebody does, the classic. Well, actually, so I'll just do it myself. Um, a lifeline with the jump freighters to get that stuff in is needed, and it's something that uh, Pappy was never able to cut us off from. They tried, and they kind of did for like a day, and then the people would just get burned out and go, "Well, this is stupid," and they would stop doing it. But yeah, moving all that stuff, yeah, that is.
I never underestimate the persistence of ITL. They will get that package
Yeah.
there. Like, it's getting there. Yeah, so that's about all we really have time for. To summarize, though, we will see in the new year whether this is true. And on that note, due to it becoming the festive period, everybody's got commitments. My work, for instance, will become incredibly busy because I work in hospitality, and guests will be busy with family stuff and all that. This will be the last Meta Show before the new year. We will be back in January with probably some new looks, trying out some new co-hosts, which I'm gonna ping out a application thing for. Doesn't have to be goons. If anyone here is not in the Imperium and would like to try that, let me know. On Discord, you can pretty much find me in many places. I've got like 80 Discords. And yeah, we'll be back in January. You will see some, I believe, podcast versions from Brisk. And if anything happens between now and January, I will be doing a show. Anything noteworthy.
Nothing happens in December normally.
Exactly,
We're good.
that's the big thing. Nothing happens in December. Everybody's busy in December. It's December.
I would like to end one thing if I could there, Dave, with the family time. I'm big on family time. I do a lot, as I mentioned on the last time I was on the Meta Show. I do a lot of the coordination for our Sino videos. We just had one for. It was not an Imperium member. We had one just the other day. Being out there, getting a chance to say hi to your family. Right, we've got the space nerd family as well. We all get together. I try and do a Merry Christmas Day and a Happy New Year's Day fleet every year. CCP gives us the snowballs. We sit on the undock in 1DQ. I guess we're going to have to do it in ULX this year.
You could
We
go
get a
sit
big
on the
snowball
1DQ
fight
undock.
going. It's my thing. I always try and get spend time with your family when you can, and your nerd family will be here when you get tired of Uncle Bob's stupid ass stories. You can come listen to our stupid ass stories.
Last December definitely taught me that hanging out with your Eve friends as well in the festive period is important. But we're not.
Yeah,
yeah. So that's all we got time for. Any last things other than that one just then?
No, that was it for me.
Beyond, Mr. Numbers?
Not really. Have a great holiday if you celebrate it, but else have a good time, guys.
Yeah, and I'm sure I'll see mostly the viewers in my streams or in my fleets or just hanging about. So yeah, that is all from us, and have a good new year, everyone.
Have a good one, guys.